Hey, good evening, everyone. This is the special call City Council meeting of Wednesday, May 31st, 2023, 6 p.m. City Hall Council Chambers. Ask the clerk to please call the roll.
Mayor Hark,
Here.
Councilmember Phillips,
Here.
Councilmember Welch, Councilmember Beach,
Here.
Councilmember McCoy,
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Dobson, and Councilmember Franke.
Present. Okay, there's a quorum present, so we'll call this meeting to order. First item on the agenda is 3rd Ward Councilman Stephen Franke, 4th Ward Councilman Charles Phillips.
Cool. Thank you, Mayor. I get a little caught off guard at these sorts of meetings when we don't do a invocation and pledge and all the above, so nice to get right into it. Anyways, little context on why we're here tonight. Because obviously it's not Tuesday night on the 1st or 3rd Tuesday of the month. So we had a budget workshop on Wednesday, May 17th, and then we have another council meeting next Tuesday, the regularly scheduled. At that budget workshop, the main topic of discussion was public safety salaries. Mike, Charlie, and I thought it would be a good idea to get back together again before next Tuesday to talk about our varying solutions to the things from that budget workshop. That way there's less pressure of a deadline looming, and we can more freely engage in these conversations, ask questions, and just kind of do that with some extra time before Tuesday comes back around. Furthermore, we understand that this meeting was just called yesterday. We understand that's an inconvenience, that some of you are probably missing important family events or maybe just a night on the couch. But regardless, we're happy to have you here. Grateful for every one of you. Anyways, to the matter at hand, Charlie and I are presenting first according to the agenda, and then Mike is coming after us. Mike has a solution that I think is good and right. I'm just not sure it's right for this moment, but you'll hear more about that later. Anyway, for this, which is in the public agenda packet, which you guys can find online on the city's website if anybody wants to get out their phone and follow along right now. Charlie and I support the roughly 10% raises across the board. That would get fire to 40 starting salary and police to 48 starting salary. We support that unequivocally, without any contingencies. If we had it our way, we would get it done as soon as possible. According to the numbers we get from our finance director, we can afford that for this coming budget year. And I like that. But I think we have a responsibility to think beyond the next budget year. So he and I are proposing that we pursue something called a public safety sales tax in the amount of 1/2 cent. That would exist in perpetuity. In year one, it would generate roughly $2 million new dollars. Just an example of the cost. So if I go to the store and spend $10, it would cost me 5 extra pennies. If I went to the store and spent $100, it would cost me 50 cents extra. Taxes like that are paid for, according to the Missouri Department of Tourism, 40% by people visiting Hannibal. I think that's one of the key advantages of this. So there's a bit of a process to go through to get to being able to pass that, unfortunately. So what that means is we currently do not have the authority to put that kind of tax on the ballot today. We would have to get that authority from the Missouri legislature. They give that authority almost annually. In our research, at least 30 cities, towns, and counties across the state have those sorts of taxes currently on the books. So even though it adds time to the length in which it would take to get this done, the success rate on something like that would be pretty high. So we would have to first seek approval from the Missouri legislature and then put it on the ballot in November of 2024. So again, Charlie and I support giving the raises now. But But we need to also think about the future, in our opinions, and so that's why I think we should start this process right now also. Beyond that, the neat thing is that Hannibal's actually done something like this in the past. It wasn't for public safety, it was a bed tax. So in order to pass that bed tax, we had to go through the Missouri legislature and get approval, just like we're seeking to do this time. Questions, comments, concerns from the rest of council, I welcome those, or Mike can present, and then we can compare and contrast afterwards, some combination thereof. But just to reiterate, Charlie and I, according to the finance director, we see that there is enough money to give those raises today for the next budget year. We support giving those without any contingencies, but we also need to start planning for the future in the form of a half-cent public safety sales tax. Thank you.
Was there any questions for Stefan? If not, I'll go ahead.
Well, actually,
Go ahead. Go
I
ahead.
might not have a question. Somebody, I'm sorry, I didn't talk to somebody. I've looked over the presentations well put together, and I appreciate the extra work you put into it, both of you, because it takes time, I know this. When we're discussing the obtaining a lobbyist to do these things, in your research, did they do that before with the hotel bed tax, do you know, or?
James would be able to answer that maybe better than I would.
Because I don't remember, and I thought.
I was probably in high school or younger when they put the bed tax
So
on.
then that means I was not even a thought yet.
All right.
But I can tell you a little bit about the process.
Yeah, I'm interested because I don't know, and I don't pretend to know that.
Okay, so for those of you who might have looked this up online and wanted to follow along, or for those of us sitting up here, page 5 has this process laid out. So first step of it, like you said, would be to hire a lobbyist. Don't hold me to the legalities of any of this, just because I'm the messenger on this and I trust you to fact check me when that time comes. But I talked to 2 separate lobbyists, and one of which is the current lobbyist for HR EDC. And he said that in a process like this, we would not hire him for a whole calendar year. We would simply hire him for 1 legislative term at a flat fee. After we hired him, he would write the language for the bill and then seek a sponsor in either the state or Senate. It might get attached to another bill. It might get attached with other public safety taxes, which is actually kind of common. So let's say there are 4 or 5 other cities in the state that want to do this in the next legislative cycle. It's common for all of those to get packaged together. So then once the bill is written and a sponsor is found, it starts in either the House or Senate. Then it would either pass or fail in the House or Senate, at which time it would go to the next House, or it would pass or fail. And then the governor would sign or veto it. And if all that is successful, as I said, we put it on the November 2024 ballot. You can't guarantee anything when it comes to legislative cycles, but public safety is popular. I don't think any state rep would want to get tagged as being anti-cop and anti-firefighter. So, what else you got, if anything?
That was the only question I had. I was curious about that process. And like you said, the public safety concept is popular. You also have a seated governor that's a sheriff's deputy as well, so he supports public safety entities as well. So it's a thought to keep in mind.
And just kind of informally, Chief Nockey suggested a potential state rep who is a former police officer who might be amenable to even be a sponsor in something like this, who's from our general area. So.
I think I know the one. That's all I had. I'm sorry.
I need to apologize.
Okay. If you remember in our budget meeting, the mayor stated there are people are our greatest resources. And I believe that we can all agree with that statement. Our city manager here has found us millions of dollars in grants to fix things like Union Street and North Street. She went toe-to-toe with the Army Corps of Engineers and won, saved the city hundreds of thousands of dollars for rebuilding the pumps for our downtown flood control system. In our budget meeting, she stated that the 10% asked by police and fire was, it was, where's it come from? Find me the money. So, there's a couple of different versions floating here that would find the money. I trust our city manager, who possesses a master's degree in public policy and administration, to present us a balanced budget, of which she did. We, the councilmen, looked through the lines, and the only thing we could find to cut was a citywide pickup, and that won't fill the gaps for a 10% increase. Also heard the rumblings that the council kicked the can down the street for too long, that we need to do something to increase our revenues. Our sales tax rate's presently 8.86%, which I feel is about maxed out. Maybe others don't. That leaves us with property taxes that haven't been increased since 1973. Yes, 50 years ago is when property taxes last increased. I checked with the county collector, and the amount collected for 2022 real estate for the city of Hannibal is $2,012,836. The amount collected for personal property taxes was $606,368. So if we proposed a 10% increase in real and personal property tax, we'd raise $262,120 that would bridge the gap for the proposed increase for police and fire from 6 to 10%. So the voters are going to say, how does that affect me? What do I pay? That's what everybody asks. So I consider myself average, property owner in town, and I live in a house that was built in 1995. It's 1,400 square feet, and my real estate tax, the line item for the Hannibal, city of Hannibal is $26.49. My personal property tax is $15.09. That's for a couple average cars. Basically, it affects my tax bill of $41.58. For me, it's a small increase to support and retain good firefighters and police officers. Going back to 1973, the minimum wage was $1.60 an hour. Even adjusted for inflation, that minimum wage would be $5.65 an hour. And today's minimum wage in Missouri is $12 an hour. We couldn't live on 1973 wages, but somehow we're expecting Hannibal to survive on 1973 wages. So in my proposal for the 10% property tax increase would be to get the support from the chiefs of the two departments. My comment was if they were passionate enough with service clubs as they were here in our original budget meeting, that it wouldn't be hard for them to convince the voters of the need. It'd be a great opportunity for the fire department union members to go out door to door and just check on working smoke detectors in homes. And, it's all about public safety. It'd allow police officers to go out and make contact with people that they wouldn't ordinarily see, and hear about what's going on in the neighborhoods. I think it's important for police to have a good rapport with our citizens, and that would help achieve that. I also, in consideration, I consider myself a conservative. I've seen in the city, just recently, Watlow's laid off a good number of their employees. I'm seeing, in our reserves, a lot of that was ARPA funds that will never be replaced. And then we've got, some of you may or may not know, we're looking at the loss of our court system here in Hannibal for municipal court, and it could be, possibly the loss of those fines. That all affects the bottom line. We've also got moving target. We're trying to deal with St. Elizabeth Hospital, the old hospital. We've got some things in the works for that. There's some money in a recently passed sales tax, for infrastructure that we're looking to deal with that. But everything's a moving target on that. So to take our ending fund balance, with a 10% across the board raise, down to $143,000 is to me, not fiscally responsible. So I would like to see the 4.5% for the civilian employees, the 6% for the sworn officers and firefighters. And then in November, we pass this tax. In November, we can give that additional 4% to the people, all these people here that deserve it. So that's, and my thing on what Stefan's proposed is, it doesn't sound like a lot when you go to the grocery store or whatever, but when you go buy a car, if you've bought a car recently, you're looking at $50,000 or $60,000. That's a pretty big hit on the sales taxes on a car. That's $500 or $600 extra. So, that's kind of an ouch. So, just something to think about. Questions?
Man.
So, I guess Charlie, Mike, and I never discussed the next part of this, but we're just trying to create some extra time here to do some thinking. So, but I thought, at least, and Mike is free to push back on this, is that if council had some sort of direction they wanted to take tonight, we could, of course, do that, but and that would be welcome, in my opinion. But at the same time, if not, we have until Tuesday to have some more conversations and make up our minds. So I'm game for whatever. I'm game to answer more questions or stage some votes. I don't know. What did you think, Mike? Did you expect to come in here today and make a decision, or just a talk?
Well, it's either going to be, we decide tonight or have our staff write two different proposals for wages to bring in on Tuesday night, and we hash it out in the council meeting. So whatever everybody's preference is. I mean, we've given information tonight. If you want to digest it, that's fine. Come back next Tuesday.
Well, I hate to,
Be nice.
here's the thing, as far as the staff preparing the two options and present us two options. First of all, I like being giving two options in any given scenario. Giving me one option is not giving me a choice. So two options is a positive step. My question is, how much load or stress is it going to create on staff to get that prepared? Are you all pretty close? Present that Tuesday night. Answer that.
So it depends. We need parameters of what it is. Do you want to stay with what you had said the last time? Do you want to do something different? I mean, we have to have some parameters, but what you have at your seats are budgets that show the 4.5 and 6 and the 10%. And so those, you do
We
have
could apply
those
those to
numbers.
both of the options presented tonight. Those would correspond with those options.
These would be the numbers, and then you can look at each option and see which option you wish to go with.
The
I'm sorry, but kind of sidestepping this, the options presented, I think are both good options, and I think we should pursue both. The property tax, it gets us to 10% this year, but in future years, we don't know if that'll carry us or where the economy's going. But it's going to take 2 years to do, Stephen and Charlie's plan. And so I really think that a good option would be to pursue both.
I think Mike is on to something, and that's something we spoke about before this meeting, is that hiring the lobbyist process is not, like, if council elects to go Mike's route, we can still go the lobbyist route at the same time. My concern with that is has a few different parts. We are teed up to do a stormwater infrastructure thing at one of the next elections, either November of this year, which would be close to no turnout because there's not going to be anything else on the ballot, which is the whole discussion in and of itself, or next April at the municipal election. The stormwater department is going to be created through a real estate tax levy. So
That's to be determined tomorrow night.
there's a very high likelihood it's going to be assessed through a real estate tax levy.
But the problem is you're going to have to triple taxes to do that.
I mean, I don't want to have a conversation on the efficacy of
Okay.
a stormwater
Sure.
tax.
Okay.
I mean, that's not my point
Sure,
here.
okay.
My point is, it's the highest likelihood in stormwater situation is that it's going to be assessed through a real estate tax, through a property tax. So, Mr. Dobson's solution is great from the point that it is incremental and that we haven't raised those taxes since 1973. That is not good. My concern is when we go to the public for a property tax on the same ballot or on back-to-back ballots, to me, I think there's a decent chance one or both might fail for that reason alone. Whereas the sales tax situation, earliest we could put it on the ballot is November of 2024. That's 18 months from now. By that time, the stormwater situation will have either passed or failed on its own without any influence from other potential taxes. But furthermore, the public safety tax that Charlie and I are proposing would literally generate 10 times more money than Mr. Dobson's suggestion on an annual basis. And be in perpetuity, and be paid for 40% by people coming to visit Hannibal. So, yeah.
So they're having that meeting tomorrow night to discuss their funding option. Why don't we just table ours till the next meeting until we see what they're gonna do and then discuss our funding option? Right?
Well, essentially, Councilman, I believe at the next meeting, we would have to have both options presented here.
Well, I think we can go on and vote on the budget without the
And
funding source.
we'll be able to approve the payroll budget or payroll ordinance to stay compliant with charter.
Yeah.
But
So I would
I believe we should be able to make a decision on one or the other or both based on
The funding source of the
what we
budget.
have. And that'd be the best thing. You don't have the floor. Don't do that anymore.
Funding source of the budget.
I'm sorry.
Talking about the funding source of the budget for the next meeting.
Funding sources.
Mayor, I think what the question is tonight, whether we do the 4.5 and 6 or the 10% across the board.
Yeah.
That's what they're wanting.
I would make a motion to do 10% across the board.
I'll second.
City Attorney, I just want to check, that is not on the agenda, so I just want to make sure.
Kind of is.
Well, I mean, the special, what did the special call notice actually say? I haven't
Public
looked at it.
safety and funding solutions for police and fire wage, so I just want to make sure before they do it, that, because it's not.
And they
I-
just give direction.
I believe that's related, because here's the thing. The budget isn't approved until after the public meeting. I believe that the council is entitled to vote on which budget they'd like staff to work on, and that is within the confines of what was in the public notice. And I'm not
Okay.
saying you're wrong,
No,
Melissa.
I
I appreciate
just
you.
want- I wanna
I
make
appreciate you
sure.
looking out for us on these things. However, I believe it's a sufficiently related thing, and the budget isn't approved until the budget's approved. So I believe it'd be appropriate for the council to direct staff to work on whichever version council wants to work towards, because ultimately, if that doesn't work, we're going to have a further discussion at the next meeting and also at that public meeting. So,
That should stand. Motion stands?
I believe it's an appropriate motion, and I believe there was a motion and a second.
Motion and a second.
I
So
don't know.
you didn't get it. Can
Was
you
it-
state your motion again, sir?
Motion to go forward with the 10% increase in the budget?
Is that police and fire or every employee
Across the board.
citywide?
Not really
No,
fair,
I-
just
I
get
second.
some are raising up the other.
I seconded that.
I got it.
Got it.
I'm
Okay.
good now. Sorry.
Oh, no, we'll make sure you're right. You're good. So, motion and a second on the floor. Is there any further discussion?
I just want to say one thing real quick. I agree with Mike. It's all of our jobs up here to be financially responsible for the taxpayers of the city. Excuse me. That being said, if we don't combat this problem, we're going to continue to bleed people, not just the police and fire department. I mean, I want to ask, I would like to know, I'm not going to, how many people in this room worked with me at the fire department. I bet it's not very many. I bet it'd surprise you. In just the last 10 years, the turnover in the room. I don't expect anybody to stand up, but, if we don't solve this problem, what do? We close the fire station? I mean, then you just snowball that whole thing down. Your ISO ratings go up, you wind up paying more in insurance. I mean, the money's there. It's the right thing to do. But I also want the other taxpayers that aren't in the room tonight to realize that, this isn't just a, hey, 10% across the board, thanks, good job, pat on the back. There's a lot of thought that goes into this, and it's more about sustaining the future than, you know what I mean?
A lot more work in the future than there is tonight, just to make a decision. That's,
I agree.
we will have the responsibility to protect wages that we approve and to ensure there's a revenue source to do so. I think somebody used the word in perpetuity. So, any other discussion?
Mayor, the only thing that became a rub this last time is all our numbers were 10% across the board. They're different. We going with straight 10 across the board or 48, 40, 17 million. That, we just need to know that because our percentages aren't perfectly 10 across the board.
I took Jeff's motion to mean the more intricate things that Bianca had sent out on her chart. I don't know if anybody else saw that or looked at that, but it wasn't quite.
I'll use mine for an example.
Yeah.
My DPW budget, it'll have some that'll be a little higher than 2%, but the payroll budget across the board, we're losing something about 8.5%. Parks and Rec's 5.5%. So that's where it's a little bit different than just straight 10s.
Well,
It's easier
but
to do it on the civilian side.
we do need an actual direction as to whether it's 10%, because 10% means that, or whether it's actual numbers.
We discussed this afternoon, how do you stay in the steps?
Right. So,
I'm thinking it should be just a flat 10% for everyone.
That would not get fire's salary to where they want it to be. Just right off the bat.
About 10% got you to 40 and 48.
it's very, very close.
And it gets you to 39 something.
10% budget. 10%.
But the 10% budget you have here, everybody's happy with that, right? That works for everybody?
If we wanted to do it the way, ideal way it would be done, we set the mark at 48 to 40, $17 an hour.
Bianca, is that what this represents?
Or,
So it's,
and then 10% for everyone else?
yeah, 10% for everyone.
But they need to,
Yeah, that would be, have to be.
they need to clarify that, council does, because that's who actually gives the direction.
Yeah. Was your motion made based on this 10%
Yeah, I didn't,
version
I
budget?
didn't go through all the line items, but yes. If that budget covers everybody, then yes, we'll go with that.
But you made your motion on is on this right here.
Yes.
I think we're on the same page. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Oh,
No?
Mayor Hart,
Yes.
Councilman Phillips,
Yes.
Councilman Welch,
Yes.
Councilman Beach,
Yes.
Darrell McCoy,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Dobson.
I'm only voting no because I don't think it's fiscally responsible and runs reserves down too far. I'm perfectly happy with 10% raise for the employees. That's the only reason I'm voting no.
Councilmember Franke,
Yes.
The motion passes to go ahead and carry it in that fashion next meeting.
Then one other question. The two versions of how to, increase the budget numbers, those will be on next council's agenda for debate and for approval?
Yes.
Okay.
We can go ahead and hire lobbyists now, or give that directive, but I mean,
Better wait and get his oath.
I have a concern about hiring a lobbyist. I have a concern it might be, and because I haven't researched it, it might be a violation of ethics that, you're trying to pass a tax, and if you hire a lobbyist to get a tax passed, as a general rule, the Ethics Commission doesn't like that. I'm not aware of an exception that would allow us to do it for this purpose. I'm not saying it doesn't exist. If you've been advised that other people did it, I need to find out how they did it, because I'm just not aware of it. So I was planning on doing that research tomorrow, but I have not done it yet.
and good thing we have HRADC, and you're totally capable of doing some research on your own. We'll talk again on Tuesday.
HRADC has a lobbyist, but they're not directly a government entity. They're a quasi-government entity, so they can do it. I know why they can do a lobbyist, because we actually had this come up when they wanted to hire a lobbyist, and we had to look, and it was basically that because we don't have specific control over their budget and how they do things, they could go ahead and do it. I'm not saying that bars us in this situation. I'm just saying I don't know the answer.
And I guess we'll talk again on Tuesday.
Sure.
Anything else on the agenda? Is a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
We can with your.
We are too calm. We are too